All right, so here we are. We're going to be making some jewelry today. Right now, I'm trying to get my chat going. I don't know why I don't have chat. There it is. All right, notifications work. That's good. Hello, Enchantress. How are you tonight? We'll just hang out here for a minute and see if anybody else decides to show up. Right now, Enchantress, it's just me and you. Well, good. I'm glad you could make it. And what were you doing? Can you hear my chair squeak? You're going to doodle my tools. Oh no. Ah. I knew what you meant, but yeah, that could be misconstrued. So what I'm doing tonight, first, to begin with, is, well, these two are Bumblebee Jasper that I didn't get around to wrapping earlier. But the rest of these stones have just been laying on my desk. Sure, you can post it to the group. That'll be fine. I don't know if any of them will want to watch. But the rest of these have just been laying around on my table. So I figured I would clear off my table. And wrap all of these beautiful stones. Like I said, these two are Bumblebee Jasper. They're not like the super high quality Bumblebee Jasper, but they're still very pretty. And then I have a gorgeous lapis lazuli that's just been laying here waiting for me to get to it. And this is some type of jasper. Got it written down over here somewhere. It's an ocean jasper, apparently. And this is a Cherry Creek jasper. And this is a yellow jasper. Hi, Val. How are you? And this is a flower agate. He's a little bitty stubby guy. And this is, he's big. Yeah, well, I am in love. This is obsidian. It's a big old arrowhead. Most of these were gifts from friends. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start by getting stuff out of the way. And we're going to start with these jasper. These bumblebee jasper. This is an interesting shape. Coloring is cute. I think we're going to do him like this. Move the yellow one out of the way for a minute. Get my tools set up so that I can actually use them. And I'm going to use 18 gauge vintage bronze wire for this guy. I think that'll be a nice color to go with him. Looks pretty good. And we're going to want 18 inches or so. Uh-oh, hooked. But yeah, we're just going to clean off my table, chat with some friends, both new and old. And let's have a little fun tonight. How are you doing, Val? Find my middle. My wire was stuck. And I'm whacking my camera. And I was nowhere near the middle. Here's a little tip. Okay, I'm making my bail and I've got way off of middle here by close to 2 inches. So what you can do is take your longer one, and instead of bringing this one or bringing this one around, just take this one around farther than you normally would and have them meet in the back instead of at the bottom. That uses up a little more wire. Uh-oh. There. Sorry about that. I whacked my camera. Hi, Sharon and Jackson, if you're both there. Whacked my camera and it put a mean note on there. But you see, by doing that, now I'm still longer, but I used up a good inch anyway. So that helps a little bit. I'm going to twist this a couple more times. That stuff looks almost black. Hi, Val. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I thought I said hi. So we're going to just bring this right up in the middle. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I've never done a D shape before. So we're going to see. And I'm just going to throw a quick loop in there. I'm going to make I've been liking these. I made the first one by accident. I've been liking these not concentric circles. I don't know what you'd call it. But we want this one to kind of curve down here. We're going to bring it around and make another little curl. Sometimes a stone don't want to stay. That's okay. Hey, look, I made a, what is that called? A staff? Yeah, I made a musical staff. That's cute. That's not going to work. I need the stone to be there. There we go. I'm getting a funny feeling that this isn't going to hold very well. I may have to rethink my design. Bring this one around. Make him smaller. And bring it around back here. That might work. Yeah, treble clef, that's the word. Bring that there. And get it centered before I lock anything down. Bring that around to the front so they're both going the same direction. We're going to fight with this one. A little lumpy. You're down tight. You're down tight. And I thumped my machine again. Is that affecting your guys' view at all? All right. There. I don't know, Sharon. It depends on how you want to wrap it, first of all. Secondly, shape your stone. All right, he's coming out on the side there pretty easily. Let's widen our base a little here, if we can. We might be able to tighten him down. Might be able to tighten him down. What's better? We got a couple of places where we can try. Get my glasses back on. There we go. She's not going anywhere now. Just squish that down though. I don't like how it's poking out. There we go. Push you back in there a little bit. I don't know, it got a little busy on me, didn't it? Go like that. Go like that. Woohoo! Run away. There we go. He's solid in there now. All right. Now I got to see which way I spun this, because this has got to go that way. There we go. Couple more twists around my bail. Trim him off. Your bail wires get, see, they're not quite even. One's taller than the other. Just slide in by the low one and pull it up a little bit. They'll line up for you. Play around with it enough. Be careful how much you squish it, or you'll end up with a D-shaped bail, which I've done on purpose. But if you don't like it and you do it by accident, it's a shame. I don't know why. I am so shaky tonight. I don't like people watching me. All right, you. There we go. Now I squished him out a little bit, so we're going to squish him back in. Hang on a second. Looking through the camera was messing me up. There we go. Now she's all tucked in. Everything's fairly straight. That's not straight at all. Yeah, we need to move you over that way. Still leaning. See, now my stone's all loose again. We got you in the middle. Yeah, it's pretty much in the middle. I'm just gonna come back here and retighten these. I'm keeping pressure on my design because when you tighten your wires, sometimes your designs turn wonky on you. Doesn't look too bad, does it? I'd like that to be over a little more. There we go. That's better. Squish it down so the bail is hanging where it needs to be. There we go. First stone of the night. What do we think? Thank you, Zenchantress. So that's one Bumblebee Jasper done, I think. He's sticking out a little bit right there. Let's push him in. That's better. That one's sticking up a little bit. Push him down. And that one's still sticking up. Let's push it down. All right, everything's smooth. Decorating a stack of envelopes. And there it is. Throw a price tag on it later and go our merry way. I think I'm wanting to do this one next. Going to use 18 gauge gold colored wire. I need a lot, like 3 feet. Why did I take it away from the camera? Because I just held it in one hand and measured my arm. Oops. Get a little bit straighter here. Find my middle, or close to it. Make my bail. I got so much wire, it's catching on everything. Couple of twists to lock it in. Actually, I'm going to do a few more than a couple. And here we go. Like I say, this is a nice sized arrowhead. I mean, that's a good 3 inches. 2 inches. 2 1/4 actually. Oh yeah, there's only 2 knuckles. 3 inches would be the whole finger. Yeah, 2 1/4 inches long. 1.5 inches or so wide. 1 1/4 inches wide. Sharp. Just adding this little leg here because I want my first wire to go through these little holes here. Now when you're doing this, you got to make sure that when you pull it tight, let me straighten it back out here a little bit, that your bail is in the middle. Because if you don't, you're going to come up with a problem that we had on the last stone that we did, and the bail's not going to be in the middle. And sometimes, depending on how you've done it, moving the bail is not easy to do. See, I did it again. It is not in the middle at all. Just straighten her back out and go at it again. This time we'll try it from the back. All right, now we're going to bring both our wires down. Pull this one tight. We're going to run through that first notch. And we're going to come up here and we're going to run one through the next notch and one through the next notch. We're just going to bring them both up to that notch. And we're going to bring them both across here like so. Now, before I do that, we're going to double check our bail and make sure that it's in the middle. And I want to, this is so much easier to do before you put that wire in. Tighten it down by making myself a nice little lightning bolt to run across there. And I'm going to want to put a loop. And let's see, that one's going to be in the middle, so this one can go here. I have an idea here. Put a loop there, and that one's going to go back and out of the way. This one we want in the middle, and we want it to be a downward one. Yes, so we want to go that way with it. But we're going to add a little razzle dazzle here. We're going to throw a little golden feather on there. We're going to make our loop around the golden feathers top. And I did it wrong. We needed to go the other way. We need the loop to go down. So now I got to straighten everything out. Let's see. Am I missing anything? I did miss something, but before I could see it, she made it go away. That's why it didn't show up. I saw something on my phone, but I didn't see it on my computer. I'm trying to get... Yeah, we're going to go this way. Do a counterclockwise loop. That will make this loop point towards the bottom. And we need to make sure that our feather is at the bottom. And then we can run this up a little bit, I think. And there we go. And then run you back here. And now, just to lock everything down before I straighten out my feather, we're going to go ahead and get our wires. If Matt is going to do live demos, oh, if Matt's not going to. Okay, well. Oops. One wire tried to climb over top of the other one. Can't have that. It happened anyway. That's okay. I think we can ignore it. And it looks a little wonky, but I'm not doing the whole thing over again just because one wire Now keep these little scraps of, I mean, that's a good 4-inch piece of wire. Well, that's good. Anybody has any questions? Just go ahead and ask away. I'm just boogieing along, doing my thing. Just got my map for my show on the 18th. That one's some kind of food truck extravaganza. I haven't done it before. But there's 50 vendors there, if you count the face painting lady. No, this is 20 gauge. Val, thank you. "20 gauge is my go-to. I use 18 gauge if the stone is really big or really heavy, or if that's all I have left at the moment. I've done that too. But 18 gauge is a little on the stout side for most of what I'm doing. Straighten that out a little bit. Now, my feather's not laying flat, so we got to fix him. Which means we got to, I don't want to break the charm. So that means we got to move the wire just a little bit of a twist. And apparently I twisted it the wrong way, because now it's backwards. So come back in here and give a little twist that way. What are we doing? Try to get it to lay naturally. There we go. That laid naturally. And after you got it in a position where it's laid naturally, you just come back in here and squish your loop back down. And now it's stuck there. No matter what you do, it lands back where it's all pretty. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I took, well, thank you, Linda. Welcome to the live. Do you normally make jewelry, or are you completely new to the whole thing? And do you know how the gauges work? Just gonna put a little crimp in these. I got these wide mouth pliers. Okay, well, Linda, welcome to the craziness. I have several videos on this YouTube channel. If you go back down into the very beginning ones, and it explains the wire gauges, and it tells you how I'm making my bales. It does not want to do that. You know what? I can live with that. No, I can't. I don't like straight lines. So I'm going to try and pull these apart just enough to get my pliers in there to give them just a little bit of a nudge, but they are in there tight. Pulled it a little too tight, it appears. Ooh, I might be able. Give it just a little bit of slack, maybe. Maybe. Aha, success. And there we go. Nice little arrowhead. the golden feather. And no straight lines. Hi, Angela. How are you? That should be pretty nice. Thanks, Linda. I have several videos on how to wrap arrowheads as well. I'm up to, I don't know, 33 videos. And I go with these videos as I have six. I have 6 grandchildren that are in the preteen years, 9 to 12. And I'm trying to do my tutorials with the concept that I'm trying to teach them how to do this. So it's very basic for a beginner, for a very beginner like you're saying you are. They would be perfect, I think. There we go. Pretty little arrowhead all done. All is well with mine as far as I know. Nobody's called me today with any problems, so it's a good day. All right, our next one up is going to be this pretty lapis lazuli. He's drilled straight through, and that's a big hole. Thank you, Angela. I saw those. I actually got several of these in a package at a thrift store. There's a bunch of stuff in there that I didn't. Some of the stuff that was in there, I didn't even know what it was for. But I got these big, long, 3-inch gold eye pins. And these really heavy little gold beads and silver beads. And they are, I mean, that little bag is heavy. Unfortunately, there's no tag on them. It just says Fire Mountain Gems. But there's no numbers on it or anything, so I can't even look and see what they are or what they were made of. And all of these little feathers for like $4. I gave away the rest of the stuff. Yeah, tell me about it. It's Enchantress. I almost did that. Let's do silver. Well, hi, Vicky. How are you? We're going to get, 2 feet or so. Cut our wire off. Straighten it out. Now, I know, Vicky, that you haven't been at the other show that we all frequent very long, but how long have you been doing jewelry? Or did you just start? One month. Hey, well, you found my live. I think you've watched some of my videos too, haven't you? I think you've commented on a couple. Hit my camera again. Same thing I said to Lindsay. I got several videos. You're binge watching me. That must be boring. I can't watch myself, so I don't know. I've tried to watch myself. Oop, they'll both fit through there. Beautiful. Let's see. So which side do I want to be? I want this side to be my front. And why did I choose that? I'll tell you why. Because this side is actually quite beautiful, more beautiful than this side is. It doesn't have that gray spot on there. So this is going to be a reversible pendant because I got both of the wires to go through the hole. So I'm only going to decorate one side so they can wear the decorated side out, or they can flip it over and have this absolutely gorgeous stone just hanging there. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? I don't want to cover up anything. So we're just going to do nice. Well, I couldn't make little loops either. I've learned over time. Well, I don't actually have a show on, or a video on sales. Yeah, I think that'll be more than enough. Just going to bring that up here. Yeah, I can live with that. But when you say you don't know how to sell your stuff, do you mean you don't know? What don't you know? It's important to know what you don't know. Do you not know where any craft shows are at? Do you not know? I mean, there's several videos on how to do a setup for a craft show. Pricing, man, a lot of us have problems with pricing. Somebody asked me what the cost of a necklace was today, and when I told them, they're like, that's all? So, pricing is always an interest. Oh, you're shy. Well, I'll tell you what. I do what I call passive sales. I've been thinking about doing a video on this, but I'm not sure if anybody'd care to know. But there's 3 or 4 types of sales. You've got the really aggressive sales. If you've seen any of Matt's craft show extravaganzas, videos of him at a craft show, he is a very aggressive salesman. Let's do one more. I was trained in sales. I was a recruiter for the Marine Corps. I despise aggressive sales. Then there's semi-aggressive sales, which means as soon as you see your customer, you do a lot of talking and chatting them up and things like that, trying to get them in a calm, relaxed buying mood. Then you've got what I call the passive salesman, which is what I am. I say, good morning, how are you, when a customer walks up, and then I shut up. I pay attention without staring at what they're looking at. And like if they look at my rings, I let them know that I can make them smaller. And if they are looking at my pendants, or if I overhear them saying, I've had some people, because I hang mine, I don't have any handy. This piece right here, I will put a cord on it, put the price tag on the cord, I will tie it up like this and hang it on my rack. I've heard some people say, well, what are they? And then, if I hear them say that, I say, oh, those are pendants. And I have a sign at the bottom of the fireplace screen I use to hang my pendants on that says a free necklace cord with every pendant purchase. And then I pretty much just sit there. Like I said, I'm paying attention with my ears, try not to stare, but I'm watching at what they're looking at. See, you can hang it like this. Looks a little weird with that how I did that, but that's all right. Got a little whoosh going there. But nobody's going to be paying attention to the bail with that beauty looking at you. And there's the front side. Choices, choices. But that's all the interaction that I have, unless the customer asks a question or I overhear them kind of asking a question. I pretty much leave them alone. And then you have the not so good salesman. Now, this is what you do not want to do. Those are the ones that sit behind their table. I sit beside my table, mostly because I have a really tall displays. I can't even see over them when I'm standing up, and I'm 6'6". And I like to be able to see what the person is looking at, and I also want to make sure that they're not pocketing anything. Stealing is a thing at the craft shows. It's only happened to me once, and I caught the people doing it because I was paying attention. They didn't think I was, but I was. But anyway, what you don't want to do is sit behind your table and read or look at your phone, or even if you're doing an intrinsic craft. Because first of all, people will be like, oh, well, they're not interested in selling their stuff. Second of all, people won't ask questions because they don't want to interrupt you. Even if you're doing your craft, they might stand there and watch, and they might have 3 or 4 questions, but they don't want to interrupt you. Now, they say that you shouldn't sit at all, but I have a bad back. And after lugging all of my stuff and setting everything up, I got to sit down. So, lapis lazuli, done and done. So here's something for you too. I'll just use one of my scrap pieces of wire. This is gold, this is 12. I watched a video and a guy said that he makes stuff. He uses wooden, he makes wooden things. And he brings his bandsaw with him. And he makes puzzles for little kids. Lets them get up there and actually watch him make the puzzles, cut the puzzles out, and then gives it to them for free. So I have my big table, 2 big tables that I put my jewelry on, and then I have a chair, and then I have my little fold-up table that I use in my 18-wheeler to make jewelry when I'm parked. So I bring that little table, and I put one of these cloths on here, and I have, the stuff that I need to make the sale and all of that. But I also sometimes, depending on if it's a 1 table or a 2 table, and whether or not it's like I went to an Easter one, I did not make free kids rings at an Easter one because I didn't want to use up all of my wire on little kids, because there was a bunch of them. But anyway, I usually get a 3. I'm going to do a little bit bigger. I usually do a 3.5 inch piece of wire. I pre-cut them so that I've got them in a little dish. And if somebody comes up and their kid wants to have a ring, I have them come over and I have them put their hand out. Most of them do it this way. I tell them to turn it over. I take my ring mandrel and I find where their knuckles, they have big knuckles, where their knuckles come on my ring mandrel. And then I just hold my finger there. And then I put the wire in the middle and I bring it around. They cross over. And boom. Here we go. We want them to kind of cross in the middle. And I'm not even trying to, get a perfect size. And actually, if you want, the best way to go is to make it a little big. And then I just grab whatever pliers are handy, round nose or my chain nose, and I just make some swirls. Do the same thing to the other side. And I mean, most of them are little kids. If it's an older kid, I get a little more intrinsic, but intrinsic? That's not the word I was wanting to use, is it? There, just that simple. Then I put it on their finger, and oh, look, it's a little big. So all you got to do is squish it together. Squish it down on their finger a little bit, and they run away. You would not believe the smiles you'll get out of this little piece of wire. I love the kids' smiles. I had one little girl say, "Oh, I love it. I'll never take it off." That kind of stuff will get to you. But yeah, it's one little piece of wire. I mean, what is this? 10 cents at the most? It made a kid happy. I've been tipped by parents that didn't buy anything for making their kids free rings. You just got to make sure that all the scratchies are off. You don't want to scratch their kids or they'll get angry. I've had parents that came in and bought stuff while their kid was getting a ring made. And yeah, I mean, it's a little nothing, but the kids love it. It'll last a day, if not less. I did it at my family reunion. And yes, sometimes I have made jewelry for the 4th of July. I've got some earrings and some rings I found at you gotta go to thrift stores. I found some red, white, and blue beads that had stars and little flags on them. They were just 8mm beads, but they're gorgeous. I made rings and earrings out of them, and they cost me like $2 or $3. Intricate, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, I set up my little table at my family reunion, and I made all the little kids their rings. And the next day, I went over to one of my, I think she's still considered my first cousin. She's my first cousin's daughter. Well, first cousin's daughters, because there was 3 of them. They all live basically right next to each other. And their wrangle of children, I think between the 3 of them, they've got like 8. I think the oldest one I think she just turned 14. This was a couple of years ago. So she'd have been 12, and the youngest was like 2. So it was a nice big crowd, and I had made all of the kids' rings the day before, and one of them came up and asked me if I could make them another ring because they lost theirs, and then come to find out they had all gone to what do they call those, sprinkler pad type deals for the kids, and most of them had lost their ring, and one of them had mangled it really bad. So yeah, I sat and made their rings again. Because why? Because they were kids, and it took me a little bit of time, didn't cost me hardly any money, and they love me. Hi, Pline, how are you? So, making back to what I was saying, this allows me to sit the whole time I'm at the craft show, basically, unless I'm getting up to help somebody that's doing something, wanting to know something about something, unless they've got a question that requires me to get up and go around to them. Again, I said I'm 6'6". I weigh 230 pounds. I'm a man. Most of the people that are looking at my jewelry are women. So, me standing there is enough to intimidate a woman. So sitting is better anyway for me. But like I said, when they walk up, I go, "Hi, how are you?" And then I just leave them alone. If you can't break your shyness enough to just say, "Hi, how are you?" then yeah, you're going to have a little bit of trouble selling. But yeah, just a simple little thing like that. They're happy, gives you something to do. I had one of my little, I don't know how she was related to me. I think she was a cousin's son's daughter. So, I mean, does that still make her my first cousin, or is that my first cousin twice removed? I don't know. Hello, Erica. How are you? I am in Illinois right now. My family reunion was in Indiana. I grew up in Indiana, central Indiana, and eastern Kentucky. But right now, I am in Illinois. And welcome to the live, Erica. How are you? What are we doing next? But yeah, I mean, my cat wants to chat. Okie dokie. Meow, meow, meow. This is the other Bumblebee Jasper. It is all yellow. Look at that. There's like that streak of black in it. I can't get it. There we go. Streak of black in it and a little bit of honeycomb, and that's about it. One side's a little lighter than the other. My ring light is really lighting this thing up, ain't it? When you deal with there we go. Get rid of the glossy side. You can see. How is my dad doing? My dad's doing fine. What, you hear something I haven't heard? If you're asking if I've gone down to see him yet, I don't. I haven't. I'm going down. He lives in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, and I am going down there the last week of June. And you probably are asking because I said that I was going to go down and teach him how to make jewelry. I haven't done that yet. My schedule is the end of June because I don't have any vacation days left because my grandchildren used it all up last year. But he's doing fine. He's breathing a lot better. I don't know what kind of medicine they've got him on or anything. He's one of those old timers that don't tell you anything unless he's about to die. Okay, Erica. I go to craft shows. Where are you at in the country? Yeah, he's a little depressed. Not he doesn't have depression, but he's just sad and bored because he gets up and he was a very active man up until here recently. You're in South Carolina. All right. Well, are you on Facebook? Because you can go on Facebook and find and just type in the search of the stupid Meta thing now. Or you can Google and type in craft shows near me. Most towns around me have at least one craft show a year. Usually it's on a holiday weekend type thing. But yeah, it's a craft show, vendor show. Look up those kind of things. And then if you're on Facebook, most of the areas have a Facebook group that's specifically for your area. So you're in South Carolina. Let's say you're in Eastern South Carolina. If you go on Facebook and type in, craft shows East South Carolina, there may be a Facebook group where the people that put on the craft shows can post their advertisements saying they're looking for vendors. And if you keep your eye on those, and I don't know where I'm at. I mean, I get a hold of the person that's running the craft show and they send me some type of application and I fill out the application and send them my money. And they tell me when to show up and where. But yeah, I was stacking up jewelry and my wife's like, need to sell some of this. So I had to learn. If you want to learn how to do it, flea markets have seemed to die. Farmers markets are the way to go now. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in North Carolina, up in the Jacksonville area. And yeah, they used to have a flea market there that was vibrant. I mean, there was 150 booths for people there trying to sell stuff. And that was 20 years ago, though. And I was down there a couple of years ago for my daughter's wedding. And yeah, the flea markets were gone. Now what they have was the the market where you can rent a booth inside their building and sell your stuff. It's not really a flea market atmosphere. It's more like you're shopping in a store that has several different sections. Oh, I enjoy selling. But yeah, several farmers markets in my area have allow people to come and sell stuff that's not necessarily vegetables. You know what? This is a little cab, and he has absolutely no hole. The bane of my existence. The smaller they are, the harder they are to wrap. What do we want to do? We probably should go silver on this guy, right? Yeah. Gold is just, gold would look okay. I think we'll do silver. Yeah, well, there are several. Again, if you're on Facebook and on YouTube, just type in craft show how-tos and you'll find I watched hours and hours. Hi, Jackson. And hours of videos on how to set up and what to have and what not to do, and there are also videos on how to do your pricing. There are several different formulas you can use. Pick one. I'm gonna say I think I've got a selling section on. I've got a video called How I Run My Business. And I think I talk about pricing in there. Tell you how I do my pricing. I'm not going to bore anybody with going over and over because several of us, hey Rick, how you doing? Several of us on here are longtime sellers, and you probably have your own unique way of pricing your stuff. But a big part of pricing your stuff is knowing your market. You have to know what people are willing to pay for in your area, because I am in a rural area. I could double or triple my prices if I went to Chicago, but I would also triple my taxes, and I'd have to be in Chicago. Yuck. We'll just do a little loopy here. Do a little loopy here. Get back in there. I don't like Chicago style pizza. If you're talking about, the really thin crust pizza, not a fan. I like the hand tossed or even the deep dish. I don't mind deep dish pizza. I need my pizza, when I grab a hold of it to take a bite, I need it to, stay there. I don't need it to go boop. Deep dish pizza, basically they make the pizza, they normally make it in a pan that's yay thick. Yeah, they make deep dish pizza in basically a skillet. Really thick crust, lots of toppings. I don't know. I avoid Chicago. I'm a truck driver and I have to drive through there sometimes. So the last thing I want to do when I'm home is go back to Chicago. I avoid it like the plague. I am not a city fan at all. I don't like going to Peoria, and it's like 1/10 the size of. Ooh, that's kind of cool looking. It's like 1/10 the size of Chicago, and I don't like going there. I just do not like big cities. I like my quiet little country towns. I've had a lady trying to get me to do. Oh, that's not going to work like that now, is it? Because I got nothing holding the top in. I forgot there was no hole. Oh, my pretty design. Well, I know how to fix that. Sounds like an American pizza. Well, yeah, we're in America. You realize that Americans invented pizza, I think. You go to Italy and you can't get a pizza. I could not find a pizza in Italy. I take that back. I did find one in Rome, but it was a pre-made pizza. Yeah, I get tired of the cold too. I want to move back to North Carolina, but it is not feasible at the moment. But yeah, you aren't going to find Mama Zita's Pizzeria in Italy anywhere, because that just ain't how they operate. Which is fine. They have lots of other delicious, delicious food. All right. We need to turn you. Let's fold you down first. I'm going to just turn you bink back to facing front. All right. I have my pretty little cab here. What am I missing? You have to like bread to do a deep dish pizza because most of the deep dish part is just added crust. Oh, wine. See, I'm not a wine drinker. I like Moscato, and that's about that. And I don't dislike wine. Like if I'm offered some, I'll drink it. But if I'm going out to buy wine, it's Moscato. White Moscato is about the only thing I really enjoyed, wine that I enjoy drinking. I am a hard liquor kind of guy. The few drinks that I have in a year. Generally moonshine or bourbon of some sort. Okay, so while I was chit-chatting and everything, I wrapped this. I kind of like that little design. I'd like it to spread out a little bit more. But I have made a mistake, have I not? There we go, that's better. Yeah, well, from what I understand, he has decided that he is going to take Sunday nights off. And if he is, then I'll be able to go back to doing at least a live a month, hopefully. Depending on my other schedule. I have work, I have grandkids, I have shows. So, where did I make my mistake? you ask, because I think that's really pretty. That's just me. But my mistake is that I made sure the bottom, see, there's no hole. And I made sure that the bottom was nice and secure. He's wrapped up pretty good. He's going nowhere. But the top, the top, I forgot to make sure was secure. How could I possibly fix that? We're going to just add some wire. Do I want to do that? No. Well, Erica, we all learn at our own speed. And like I just said, that stone will pop right out of there. That is not a good wrap. I got to talking and forgot what I was doing, and I didn't secure the top. But it's a teaching experience. Teaching experience? That's not the word I'm looking for, is it? A teaching opportunity? Because now we got to fix it or tear it all off. Oh, well, you see, I envy the bead people because I'm not any good with beads. I'm starting to get better. About the only thing that I consistently make well with beads is rings. We did silver, right? Yep, we did silver. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take me another piece of wire. And I'm going to slide it underneath here. Pinch it in nice and tight. As tight as I can get it, with the stone flopping around because I didn't do it right the first time. Teachable moment. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks for trying, Plan. I am horrible at remembering this kind of stuff. So we're just going to make this lay flat. And we're just going to come down and go right over top of this one. And we're going to make it swirly like the other one is. And we want that to be bent. Yeah. You to bend a little more. There we go. Now bend you up, bend you around. Get back over there. And then we're going to just bring it back around here. And I crossed them. Well, that's nice. I have 15 people watching. I don't think that's a record, but that's a nice number. There we go. That's better. We want to spread them apart. Wider. Here we go. And I think I am just going to slide this back under here. Come on. I know you can fit under there somewhere. There we go. Now I'm holding this really tight with my thumb. We're going to pull this and we're going to push it. Pull it too hard the wrong way, it's going to rip all the other stuff off. Get a hold of it here. And just get it in there. I want to drag this down more. It might have been easier. Oh, I just scratched the stone. That ain't good. Might have been easier to tear it off and start over again. Bring the wire down, cover up my mistake there. And squish this down nice and tight. Pliers with a bigger space. There we go. got that one over here tight. And I got to get this one in there. You have to exit the chat, Pline. You have to exit the chat and go to where you can see the comments, and there's where you'll find the like button, and then you have to come back to the chat. That's what I have to do with Matt's on my cell phone. I have to hit the X to get rid of to get out of the chat, and then it immediately pops up with the place where you can like it. And then you have to come back to the chat. There we go. All right. So now, stone still wiggling a little bit, but way better. It can't come out. We'll just bend these down to tighten them up. Set them a little bit better. There we go. Pull these back down so that the curves are more. Ouch, that hurt. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I start over and do it again? Hang on, my camera's freaking out because I bumped it. There we go. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, so we've got these little things here. So we got to secure them. You think I should tear it all apart and start over again? Well, guess what? I think somebody will buy it. And if they don't, I can always start it over again some other time. I'm going to bend these over here one more time to completely lock them in so that they can't go anywhere. Give myself some room here. I've mangled this wire so badly that I'm not even going to try and save it. So now we've got this going on. So then all we need to do is take this, give it a little swirl, tuck it up close. See, I have done that before, Pline. Well, I don't know my customers. The only thing I can tell you about my customers is you never know what they're going to buy. And if they don't buy this by the end of the year, I'll tear it apart and I'll redo it and put it back out next year. But yeah, I've sold stuff that I was like, that's never going to go anywhere. And somebody's like, oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I want it. Okay. And I've had stuff that I'm like, man, this will sell fast. See, I did that one a little different. I found a place to tuck it under where it can't be touched. No scratchy. Push everything down. And there we go. Stone is going nowhere. I don't have anything soft except my fingernails. I'm going to pull that down. Pull that down. There we go. Now that we're completely done. Yeah. We're just going to leave it like that and see what happens. But yeah, no, things I thought would fly off of my, like labradorite. Nobody around here cares for labradorite. I've got 2 or 3. I've wrapped, I think 4. I think I've wrapped 4 pieces of labradorite, and I think I've sold 1. And I mean, they weren't even, the lower grade stuff. This was the stuff that the flash is there when you stare straight at it. Now, I've had some rainbow. I had 3 or 4 different colors, purple and yellow and blue and green, all on the same stone. That one sold. None of my others have. But yeah, and since this is not, if this was like a really high grade bumblebee jasper, I would probably rewrap it. But this one, all it has is yellow and that one little stripe of black. Doesn't have any gray. Even this one, the one I wrapped earlier today, has a little more character than this one does. No, labs are not selling well for me. It's just not a thing. That's like our friend Matt. He's always saying turquoise and silver, turquoise and silver. This will be your fastest seller ever. Nope. Amethyst and fluorite are my fastest sellers. I can sell purple all day long and still be held with a handful of blue. I actually raised my prices on some of the amethyst that I had because people were willing to pay for it. Hi, Robin. How are you? Pink is so-so. Yeah, that's what I say, to each their own. That's why I said a bit earlier, when you're talking about pricing, you have to put your customer base into your pricing formula. But the problem with that is that you have to be selling in order to get to know your customer base. So kind of a catch-22 there. Not really, but kind of, because when you're starting out, all you can do is all you can do. Like I said, for me, I take my costs of making the thing. I can't remember how much this little guy was. 3 of them, $12. He was $4. So I used maybe $1 worth. Oh, the ones, the little, the little ones that already have the bale attached to them that he was selling the other night. So I have $5 in this thing. So doubling it would be 10 immediately. And then it took me, it would have taken me, if I wasn't talking and chatting and not paying attention, it'd have taken me maybe 10 minutes. Yep. I have a $20 an hour thing that I say is my pay, but so I've got $5 in this thing and 10, 15 minutes worth of time at the most. So even at 15 minutes, that's another, what's that? That's a quarter of an hour. So that's another $5. So the minimum I could sell this for is 15. But then I will go into Google and I'll punch in yellow, and I haven't done that with this one yet, yellow bumblebee jasper jewelry, and I'll look at what people are selling their yellow bumblebee jasper that's almost all yellow. I'll look and see what they're selling it for online. And if they're selling it for 12, then I'll lower my price to 12. If they're selling it for 45, I'll jump him up to 25 maybe. And then I'll put it out and try and sell it. If it hasn't sold in a couple of years, I'll lower the price. Oh, well, that's cool, Robin. But yes, when you're doing the beading, you just have to love doing the beading. And now I love what I'm doing. That's why I really don't pay attention to how much time I spend, and I'm not going to start a stopwatch when I start a new one. It messes with my flow. I was telling Enchantress that before. It messes up my flow. Just like talking to you guys messes up my flow. That's why I've made a mistake on this little guy. But I fixed my mistake, and he's not as pretty as a result, but somebody might still love him. So I'll give that somebody a chance. And if nobody loves him and takes him home, then I'll rip his wires out and start him over again. Yeah, I pretty much, Klein, as far as colors of wire, I pretty much stick with my silver, my gold, and my vintage bronze or antique brass. Those are my 3 favorites. 20 gauge is my go-to, unless I'm making rings. If I'm making rings and using vintage bronze, I take it up to 18 gauge. Well, I'll tell you what, I have way, way, way more beads than I ever intended to ever have because, like I said, I'm not a bead guy. I use 8mm beads to make my rings, and that's pretty much it. But here lately, I've made some necklaces using beads, and the chips that I used to make these little chips that I used to make those bar necklaces that I made in the last few videos. I just basically gave those to my granddaughter. I gave away too big. I mean, we're talking this size. Can't even get the whole thing. This size bead container. I have a granddaughter, and I have what I call a bonus granddaughter. No, she is not a step granddaughter. I have a granddaughter that was adopted by a lady, and she had another daughter. And I've kind of, if you're the sister of my grandchild, well, then you're family. So Christmas and birthdays and gatherings and all that stuff, I treat her just like I treat my granddaughter. She's just a bonus grandchild. I have 2 of those, one on one of my son's sides, and I have one on my daughter's side. I don't do steps. Only steps I got bring me up to my craft room. But I gave each of them a container full. I mean, it was stuffed with beads because they like making necklaces. What kind of poker do you play, Robin? I know you play fairly often. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from wrapping and stretch my back a little bit. Always got to stretch. Going way back to what I've missed. Speaking of colors that sell, I do all right with earthy colors. I do okay with them. Purple sells for me really, really well. Blue and pink are about even. And let's see, as far as sales go, I sell arrowheads fairly easily. And I sell, like I said, I sell amethyst and fluorite goes quick. Opalite seems to go pretty quick as well. Some of the dragon vein agate, if you can get the pinkish purple ones or the purple, those go well, but that's mostly because they're purple and really cool. Banded agates go well, no matter the color. Like these four here. This one might go just because it's kind of a woodsy camouflage. Most of them I get from Matt. These opalite arrowheads that I've been making, like this one here, this came from Matt. I didn't buy it, it was a gift from someone. It just showed up in my set. I just wrapped it tonight. But I used to buy all my stuff from Matt. Now I use several sources. I have found that I can get more for less if I go to Amazon. I don't know if you've seen pictures on Facebook of the opalite arrowheads. I got those at Amazon. But yeah, see, we've got kind of earthy colors going on here. I made some green stuff earlier today, this morning. What do I want to do with you? I have a video or two on wrapping tumbles. Tumbles do not sell well for me, so I don't wrap them. They're hard to wrap and they don't sell. I'm thinking about just throwing a jump ring on this little guy and calling it a day. Out of vintage bronze, what? Arrowheads? You have tons of, yeah. I've got a couple of videos because somebody asked me how to wrap tumbles, and I have wrapped them, and I have sold a few, but they do not. I've had several that have been hanging for well over a year, and they don't sell for me. Not saying they wouldn't in your area. Like I said, you have to know your customer base. Where the heck's the crack? I just fell in love with doing this wrapping, but I am intent on I was going to use those, but now I need to. I am intent on trying to get my habit to pay for my habit. So even though it's fun to wrap tumbles and I enjoy doing it, they don't sell. So I've moved on to things that I can sell. Really? But like I said, you have to learn your customer area. Like Rick says, he sells purple and blue. We're going to try bring you all the way around here. And like I said, another place that we get our stones from is called Matt's Crazy Art. He does live shows where he sells stones. He also has a lot of tutorials on YouTube. And he swears he can outsell anybody in his area. Actually, he claims anywhere that blue and silver, well, he can outsell anybody using blue and silver, but blue and silver is tied with my second place selling. All right, he's in there, he ain't coming out. I said, sometimes you just can't. Yeah, so he claims. I couldn't think of anything to do to this stone. I mean, he's just a pretty little yellow jasper. I couldn't think of anything that I could do to enhance it much. I got these. Comes the test. Can I get one of my cords through there? The hole that's left. Yes, I can. There we go. So he's just going to be a simple little pendant. If somebody likes yellow, goldish yellow, then there it is. It's done. Okay, guys. I've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. That's a long time without a break. My fingers are starting to hurt. I did a lot of wrapping last weekend, so my fingers are tender anyway. I'm not going to end the show, but I'm going to stop wrapping. And we can just wrap as in talking. If you want to hang out and continue to chat, we can. Here are the items we made tonight. So even with all the talking, I managed to get 5 pieces done in an hour and a half. So that would be $30 divided by 5, $6. So I would have to add $6 to each one because that's what it averaged out to how long it took me to make them. But I know that I could have done it a lot faster, probably in an hour, if I wasn't paying attention. Well, thanks, Lindsay. And like I said, still hang out. We can still talk about Vicky, you said wire back a couple of minutes ago. What about wire? And Robin, do you play a specific kind of poker, or is it dealer's choice, or but yeah, Rick, I went to Amazon looking for opalite arrowheads because I had an idea. And I found 10 opalite arrowheads and 10 obsidian arrowheads. They're a little smaller than this one, and they don't have the big jagged edges on them like this one does. They're just regular arrowheads. And I found, oh, okay, Vicky, do you have a Hobby Lobby near you? Oh, cool, Robin. That's awesome. Okay, I'm buying my wire, this wire right here. I'm buying from Hobby Lobby. Now this is my silver, but that's Wire Elements. And here is Wire Elements, vintage bronze. I got that because I was doing Parawire only, but I tried to order from Parawire. This last time I needed a large chunk. I was going to buy $95 worth of wire, and it came up saying that something was wrong with my address. Well, they'd shipped to me twice before, but I could not get an address put in there in the way that it would accept it. And I called and left a message at their service number, because I did get a voicemail, and I left a voicemail telling them what the problem was, gave them my phone number, and a week after that, they still hadn't called me back. And I'm like, well, I need wire. I am out of everything. So it's time to go find something else. And I went to Hobby Lobby and looked at their wire and checked everything out. And some of their wire has nickel in it. This does not. They're Wire Elements from Beadsmith. And Hobby Lobby, like I said, I buy gold, silver, and antique bronze. I was using antique brass. I like antique brass a little better than vintage bronze, but they don't sell vintage brass at Hobby Lobby, but they sell vintage bronze, and it's close enough. But yes, I do several sources. I found a Michaels that I didn't know existed when we were shopping to buy things for our new dog in a town. We don't really go there to shop much. And we were heading to Walmart, and I'm like, look, there's a Michaels. And I went in there, and that was a bad mistake. Got out of there $65 later. But I've bought from Michaels. I've bought Joann's, or not Joann's, Hobby Lobby. I have bought from Joann's too. But Hobby Lobby's always got their 50% off. Every time I've gone in there the last few times, their beads have been 50% off. And like Klein was saying, the beads are just everywhere now, because some of them I just can't resist. And when I went into Michael's, that $65 I spent, most of the stuff I bought was 60% off. So yeah, I try to stay out of those places. I've already spent way too much money at Matt's this month. Spent way more money than I intended to. So, Robin, you still haven't told us what kind of poker you play. Are you playing Texas Hold'em? Are you playing stud poker? Are you playing 5-card draw? You're welcome, Vicky. That's what I'm here for. As I say, Linda, yeah, I don't know if you know about the gauges of wire. The smaller the number, the bigger the wire. I can give you an example here. This is 18 gauge wire. This is 24 gauge. Now, if you want to do find the end here. I use the 24 gauge to do when I do my trees of life. And I don't do the trees of life with the chips. I do the trees of life on a stone just with wire. But like I said, this is 24 gauge, this is 18 gauge. And as you can see, the 18 gauge is bigger. So the bigger the number, the smaller the wire. The smaller the number, the bigger the wire. And for you just starting, I wouldn't even bother buying anything other than 20 gauge. Because 18 gauge, unless you're using copper or the vintage bronze, because they are softer than the silver and the gold. They bend a lot easier than the silver and the gold do. And like I said, that's why I use 18 gauge. That's why I use the 18 gauge for my rings, because it's a heavier wire, but it bends really easy. Look at that. I mean, that, and the copper does the same thing. The vintage brass, the antique, all of that stuff. But for some reason, the gold and the silver, the coating, I mean, the inside, let's shoot this one, says it's faux gold. That's not even copper on the inside. The silver, it just says silver color, but you can see, I don't know if you can see, I can see, you can see it's copper wire with a silver coating on it. Maybe, I don't know. It might be just a silver colored wire too. Maybe that's why. But some of the wires you're going to get will have a copper core. There'll be copper in the middle. And then they've got a coating around it that makes them a little harder to do. But copper is really easy to move, and the vintage and antiques are easy to move too. Well, you're welcome, Linda. That's what I'm here for. And I don't know if you've bought any tools yet. You need flush cutters. Best bet's to get those at a hardware store or a hardware section in Walmart or Target or wherever you shop, because they're a lot cheaper than if you buy them in a jewelry store. You need chain nose pliers, no teeth. You need round nose pliers to make your loops. And this thing here is a lifesaver. These are, I call them bail making pliers. I think they're actually, help me out guys, they are jump ring pliers. Rick, no, I've never gotten into that. I very seldom, when I first started, I used copper wire, and I still have some copper wire, but I very seldom use copper wire, and when I do, I leave it copper. I don't do the, what's it called? Something of liver. Can't remember the name of it because I don't use it, but I know how to do it, but it's just seems to me like an extra step when I could just buy antique copper wire. Liver of sulfur, that's it. But yeah, it seems to me like it's like just adding to your work. If you can buy antique copper wire, why would you go through the trouble of antiquing it yourself? Unless it's something you enjoy doing. I enjoy wrapping. That's like all I enjoy. I don't mind the selling. Sometimes I enjoy that. I don't enjoy setting up for shows. I don't enjoy tearing down for shows. I don't enjoy all the paperwork involved with it, but it's all part of the deal. So I cut corners wherever I can. I like to wrap stones. So I wrap stones and then do what I have to do. But if I know people, I've seen people online that, yeah, they'll do everything in copper and then they'll immediately antique it. And I asked one person why they didn't just buy antique copper wire, and they said they liked the color better when they used a liver of sulfur. So that's a choice for them, and they apparently enjoy doing it that way. I have such limited time that, like, yeah, between truck driving and doing my jewelry business and my three little grandkids that are under the age of 4, my granddaughter that's 10, she lives in the next town over. I got to spend some time with my wife. And I try and relax a little bit on the weekends that I am home. I worked a lot of weekends too. I ain't going to be working any weekends in April. Or, I mean, May. This is April. I'm working next weekend. But that'll be the last weekend I work until sometime in June. I've got a show on the 11th, a show on the 18th. Got my grandkids over Memorial Day weekend. And then I've got a show on June 1st. That's why, if you've paid any attention, you guys have seen an awful lot of my pictures on Matt's Facebook page. That's because I'm trying to stock up. This is the last weekend I have chance that I have of stocking up, because I got 3 shows in no time, and one of those shows is really big and another one may be big. I don't know. I've never been to it. It's her 3rd or 4th year of having it. It might be large too, but the one I've got on the 18th, there's 50 vendors there, not counting the food trucks, and it's a food truck extravaganza. I have no idea how many food trucks are going to be there, but last year there was like 3,000 people that showed up at this park. So I've kind of been panicking because I had my setup is full, but that's all it was. I had enough to fill all of my spaces, but I had no extras. So everything you've seen me pictures of from the middle of last week to now is nothing but restock. Because I've never done 3 shows in 4 weekends before. I've done 2 shows back to back weekends, but I've never done 3 in 4 weekends. And then I'll have one on August, the last weekend of August, and then one on Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So there's another 2 back to back with no time in the middle to do anything. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great night for me. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm glad Linda showed up and got a lot of information. I'm glad Vicky showed up and got some information. I like helping. Oh, I try to sleep. I slept last night. We never heard any sirens. We were under a tornado watch all night until 4 o'clock this morning. We had a lot of thunder and lightning and like 2.5 inches of rain. But I didn't hear any sirens. I don't know if there were any or not, but I was asleep and didn't hear them. Well, it was great hanging out with you and Linda. Like I said, supposed to be tomorrow night. Look up Matt's Crazy Art Live. You said you're on Eastern time, so sometime between 7 and 8, he comes on and he sells stones like the ones that I wrapped tonight. And a lot of the people that you see here, you will see there, because that's where I got my start. Most of the people you see here, you'll see there. So you can come join us there if you'd like tomorrow night. And he does it with him. Well, It's called Matt's Crazy Art for a reason, because it's not crazy art. Matt's crazy. And he kind of lives on his own timeline. He's supposed to do it 6 nights a week, and he started taking Sunday off. But I guess Sunday night off is the thing now. He was off Monday night, last Monday, and I think he was off Tuesday night too. And then he had a show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then he's off tonight, which was why I was able to do a live. I'm only home on weekends when I am home on the weekend. And he claims that Sunday night's going to be his night off again. And he claims that he's going to start the show at 7 o'clock Eastern time every night. And sometimes it's, I think last night it was after 8 before he started. So kind of catch and miss. But you're welcome to join us all there. And you'll see some beautiful stones and you'll hear some crazy talk. Talk to you all later. See you next time. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Good night, everybody. Good night, Linda. Good night, Enchantress, Rick, Angela, Sharon, Jackson, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Probably. Don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll see you whether you know it or not. If Matt's on, I watch while I'm driving. Well, I don't watch while I'm driving. I listen while I'm driving. Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming. Had a good time. I hope you did too. Bye-bye. That's not what I needed. How do you make it stop? Okay, how do you make it stop? Hey, Trish! How you doing? You're welcome, Robin. You came in right at the end, Trish. I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired. I've been on right at 2 hours now. Yeah. Here's the things I made tonight, and we did a lot of talking. We had a couple of new people that was interested in things. I was gonna. Oh, there's the button. I was looking for the button to end the show when you popped in, so you almost missed the whole thing. I couldn't find the button to make it stop. How are you, Trish? I'm very happy to see you. See you all the time on Facebook. But that's not the same as actually talking to you and saying hi. I'm doing pretty well. Well, like I said, I'm sorry you're at the end of the show, but I kind of got to go. I got to get out of this chair. So we're going to have to say goodbye all. Good night.